So hi guys and girls, how are you? Okay, now lastly we saw what is a chemical symbol. Now we also saw how does a chemical symbol is represented, correct? We are going to now learn about formula. What is a chemical formula? So let us understand why is a formula required or what is a chemical formula. Obviously there are so many elements present, right? So definitely these elements will combine with one another and they'll form some compounds or atoms of the same element will be also formed, possible, correct? Like in this entire universe, we human beings are always born as an individual human being. Okay, you know that very well. But once we are born, we enter into relation. The very first relation that we make and we do bonding is with our mother, right? A mom and a child relation. So a mom and a child combine together to give a motherly relation in this universe, and then the second relation comes a father and a child relation. Okay, so we do combine with our parents in order to form a relation, and then the moment we get a sibling, okay, so we have a brother or a sister, so we do combine with them as well into a bonding relationship. In a similar manner, the elements which are present, they also combine with each other because of some attractive forces which are there, which we'll be discussing later in the part of chemistry when we understand chemistry very well. Currently, what we need to understand, what's a formula. So basically, atoms of the elements may combine together to form, atoms of the elements, please pay attention, may combine together to form the basically molecule of that particular element, or atoms of different elements also may combine together to form a compound. So when atoms of same elements are combining, they may form the element. Okay, and when atoms of different elements are combining, they may form a compound. But altogether, I will always use a simple term, a molecule. So whether the atoms of the same element combine or atoms of different element combine. So say atoms of same element combining will form a molecule. Okay, in a similar manner, I can have atoms of different elements combining. They will also form molecule. But what's the difference? Here, this is going to be the molecule of that particular element. But here, this molecule is going to be a molecule of a compound. So atoms of the same element, when they combine together, they form molecule of an element. And when atoms of different elements combine together, they form molecule of a compound. Okay? And such a molecule of an element, when it is represented using the symbols, it is called as the formula. Such a molecule of a compound, again when this is represented using the symbols, it's called as a formula. And since chemical elements are involved, we call it as a chemical formula. Okay, we also call them as a molecular formula because it gives you one molecule of the element or one molecule of the compound. To explain you that, I can take an example of atoms of same elements combining together. Can you give me, like, you know, twin brothers, twin sisters? So everything is same, right? Their face, their structure, their body, everything is same. So it's like same way. Two atoms of the same element combine together to form a molecule. So here goes our example. Oxygen, O2. Oxygen, the molecular formula is O2. Chemical symbol is O. But the molecular formula is O2 because oxygen atom cannot exist independently on its own. It will be always in a combined form, either in the form of O2 or in the form of O3, that's ozone, a triatomic atom that we have seen. Okay, again we have nitrogen as a diatomic molecule, we have say chlorine, we have iodine, we have bromine, correct? So Br2. So you see, oxygen, nitrogen, chlorine, iodine, bromine, all are the molecule of an element where the atoms of the same element are combining together to form one molecule of one molecule of an element. Whereas when I say atoms of different elements combining together, so atoms of different element in the sense, if I say hydrogen, H, and oxygen, if they combine together, they may form a molecule of a compound, that is water. H2O is a molecule of a compound because here I have atoms of different element, atom of hydrogen, atom of oxygen combining together to form water. In a similar manner, if I take carbon dioxide, so in carbon dioxide, two atoms of oxygen are combining with one atom of carbon to form carbon dioxide. Okay, I take sodium chloride, common salt. So when sodium chloride is formed, it is formed by the combination of one atom of sodium and one atom of chlorine, that gives you sodium chloride. So you see, when atoms of different elements combine together, they form molecule of a compound. Such a formula is called as a molecular formula or a chemical formula, but of a compound. Here, when atoms of the same element are combining together, they form molecule of an element. Such a formula is called as a molecular formula or the chemical formula of an element. So that's how the chemical formula is represented, and chemical formula in short gives us a lot of information, you know. So say for example, I take this carbon dioxide. What information do I get from this carbon dioxide? The very first information that I am getting from this CO2 is that both the molecule and the molecular mass is known to me. Both molecule and the molecular mass of the compound is known to me. So what do I know? The molecule and the molecular mass. How is that known? I'll come to that also, because in the periodic table we know the atomic mass of carbon, we know the atomic mass of oxygen. So in short, I know the molecule mass, the molecule oxygen, what is the mass of oxygen, what is the mass of carbon, and when I add them all together, I get the molecular mass of carbon dioxide. So that is the very first information that I get from the molecular formula or the chemical formula. The second information that I get from here is how many atoms of each element are present and how many elements are present. Now in carbon dioxide, you can very well tell me that there are only two elements present. Which are they? Carbon and oxygen. And if I ask you how many atoms of each element are present, then you can say one atom of carbon and two atoms of oxygen. So the second information that I get to know number of elements and number of atoms of each element. That's what I come to know from here, that how many elements are present and how many atoms of each element are present in carbon dioxide. That's the second information that I get. And third information that I get is that when these elements are combining together, when they are combining together, then in what ratio are they combining? Okay, so I come to know the ratio of combination. Now, in case of carbon and oxygen, there is only one atom of carbon combining with two atoms of oxygen. So they are combining in the ratio 1:2. So I come to know that carbon dioxide is combining in the ratio of 1:2. That is the third information that I get from here. Okay. Now, if I consider the molecular mass, how do I get to know from here what's the atomic weight of carbon? Atomic weight of carbon is 12. What's the atomic weight of oxygen? Atomic weight of oxygen is 16. So if I want to find out the molecular mass of carbon dioxide, how do I calculate? From this chemical formula, I have the very first information that there is one element of carbon and there is an element of oxygen. There is only one element of carbon and there are two elements, two atoms of oxygen. Both of them are combining together to form carbon dioxide. Now, that's my second information and the ratio which I get to know from the chemical formula. Now I know that the atomic weight of carbon is 12 and I know atomic weight of oxygen is 16. So now I can know what will be the complete molecular mass of carbon dioxide. So 1 into 12 gives me 12, 2 into 16 gives me 32. So the molecular mass of carbon dioxide is 44. When expressed in grams, I would say the molecular mass of carbon dioxide is 44 grams. Hope you have understood what is a formula and the significance of chemical formula. So it is the chemical formula which tells us whether how many elements are present in it, how many atoms of each element are present in it, in what fixed ratio the elements or atoms are combining to form that particular chemical formula, and what's the molecular mass of that particular formula. These are the information that we get from the chemical formula. So now, isn't chemistry simple and easy? Because so many different elements and atoms are combining and you get so many information, so much of information from one simple chemical formula. So see the importance of symbol, the importance of chemical formula, very, very important. Did you understand? So now this is the end of chemical formula subpart in the topic the language of chemistry. Further we are going to learn about valency. Okay, don't get too much confused or panic, because we are going to learn how do we come to a conclusion that in carbon dioxide molecule why only 2 atoms of oxygen and 1 atom of carbon is going to combine. Okay, what is the force of attraction between carbon and oxygen because of which they enter into combination. So that's where valency comes into existence, because that explains a lot of combination power between the elements of or you can say atoms of the same element or atoms of the different element. And we are going to learn about valency and we are going to understand how the chemical formula is obtained. But before watching that particular part of my lecture, please, you should know the symbols very well for each and every element, very, very important. Till then, thank you.